The Shadow of Doubt. A tale of love and misunderstanding. The amber glow of the setting sun painted streaks of gold across the city skyline, but Maxim barely noticed. His gaze was fixed on the clock, 7:17 p.m. Anna should have been home an hour ago. Again. This wasn't just a pattern anymore, it was a rift, slowly widening between them like a crack in the foundation of their 10-year marriage. The first whispers of doubt. Their life together had always felt like a perfect symphony, harmonious, balanced, beautiful. Their small marketing agency, Creative Horizons, had grown from a kitchen table dream into a thriving business. Their apartment, with its carefully curated bookshelves and the scent of freshly brewed coffee in the mornings, was their sanctuary. But now, subtle dissonances had crept in. The phone. Anna's phone, once casually left on the kitchen counter, now rested face down beside her plate during dinner. When calls came through, she'd excuse herself to another room, her voice dropping to a murmur. Once, Maxim had caught her quickly swiping across the screen before turning to face him. "Everything okay?" Head asked, keeping his tone light. "Of course," Shed smiled. "Just work stuff. You know how it gets before a big pitch." Head nodded, but the knot in his stomach hadn't loosened. The scents. Anna had always worn Lure Blue, a delicate blend of jasmine and sandalwood that he associated with her. But lately, Head caught whiffs of something different, a woody, masculine cologne, clinging to her scarf or jacket. When he mentioned it, she laughed and said she must have walked past someone on the street. The glances. Head noticed how her eyes would flicker to her phone when a notification chimed, how she'd hesitate before answering texts. Once, He'd seen her delete a message so quickly he couldn't catch the sender's name. Maxim wasn't prone to jealousy. He trusted Anna, or at least, he had. But these small discrepancies accumulated like drops filling a cup, until he could no longer ignore the overflow. The quiet investigation. Rather than confront her with accusations, Maxim chose a different path. He would find the truth, whatever it might be. Step 1. Colleagues. He arranged coffee with Elena, Anna's closest co-worker. Over lattes at the daily grind, he steered the conversation toward Anna's recent workload. "She's been putting in some serious hours," Elena confirmed, stirring her drink. "That new account with Orlov Investments has been demanding. Sergey's quite the taskmaster." "Sergey?" Maxim asked, keeping his voice neutral. "Sergey Orlov," Elena explained. "Owner of Orlov Investments. He's the main contact for the campaign. Anna's been working closely with him, meetings, strategy sessions, late nights. He's a stickler for detail. But," she added with a knowing smile, "he's also incredibly charming. Hard not to get drawn in when he's explaining his vision." The name registered. Orlov Investments was one of their larger clients. Maxim had met Sergey Orlov briefly at a networking event, an imposing man in his late 40s, with sharp blue eyes and an air of quiet authority. His tailored suits and confident manner had left an impression. Step 2. Observation. Maxim began working late himself, timing his departure to coincide with Anna's usual end of day. For 3 evenings, he watched from his car across the street. On the 4th night, his patience paid off. At 6:47 p.m., Anna emerged from the office building. Instead of heading to the parking garage, she walked to the corner and hailed a cab. Maxim followed in his car, maintaining a safe distance. The cab wove through downtown traffic before stopping at Le Jardin, a quiet cafe near the riverfront. Through the window, Maxim saw Anna slide into a booth across from a man, Sergey Orlov. His hands tightened on the steering wheel. They were talking animatedly, their heads close. Orlov reached across to touch her hand, a brief, almost fatherly gesture, but the sight sent a jolt through Maxim. He watched as they shared a meal there. On intense. At one point, Anna laughed, a genuine, warm sound that Maxim hadn't heard in weeks. Orlov smiled, his gaze lingering on her face. When the check arrived, Orlov paid without hesitation. They left together, walking slowly toward the riverwalk. Maxim followed, his heart pounding. They stopped by the railing, looking out over the water. Orlov said something, and Anna turned to him, her expression serious. Then she nodded, and he placed a hand on her shoulder. Maxim's vision tunneled. He gripped the steering wheel, fighting the urge to confront them right there. Instead, he waited until Anna got into a cab alone, then followed her home. Step 3. Evidence. The next morning, Maxim contacted Dmitry, an old friend who ran a discreet investigative firm. "I need to know what's going on," he said over a secure call. "But I need it handled carefully. No confrontations. Just facts." Dmitry understood. Within a week, an encrypted file landed in Maxim's inbox. The report detailed Anna's movements over the past month. September 3rd. 5:307:15 p.m., meeting with Sergei Orlov at Le Jardin. Discussed over 20 pages of documents. September 10th. 6:008:45 p.m., dinner with Sergei Orlov at La Table, paid by Orlov. Waiter noted they were deep in conversation. September 17th. 4:006:30 p.m., private meeting at Orlov's office. Security footage shows them entering together, leaving separately. September 24th. 5:457:00 p.m., coffee with Sergei Orlov at Central Perk. Observed sharing laughter. Photographs accompanied the report. In each, Anna and Orlov were deep in conversation. In one, Orlov was leaning in, speaking intently, his hand on her arm. In another, Anna was wiping a tear from her eye as Orlov placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. Maxim sat in his darkened office, the photos spread before him like a deck of cruel playing cards. The evidence pointed to one conclusion: his wife was having an affair. But why? What had changed between them? He replayed their recent conversations, searching for clues. Had he been too absorbed in work? Had he failed to notice her needs? The questions multiplied, each more painful than the last. The confrontation. He chose a Friday, a night when they usually shared a quiet dinner and a movie. He prepared her favorite meal, coq au vin, lit candles, and waited. When Anna arrived at 7:20 p.m., she paused in the doorway, taking in the scene. "What's all this?" she asked, a genuine smile lighting her face. "Did I forget an anniversary?" "Just thought we could have a nice evening," Maxim said, forcing a smile. "We've both been so busy." They ate, talking about mundane things, the weather, a colleague's wedding, plans for the autumn. But Maxim could feel the weight of the unspoken truth pressing against his ribs. After dinner, as Anna began clearing the plates, Maxim said, "We need to talk." She stilled, the plate halfway to the sink. Then she set it down gently and turned to face him. Her eyes, those deep brown eyes had fallen in love with a decade ago, held a mixture of fear and resignation. "I know about Sergei," Maxim said quietly, laying the photographs on the table between them. Anna's breath caught. She didn't reach for the photos. Instead, she sank into a chair, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. "Maxim," her voice broke. "I should have told you. I wanted to. But every time I tried, I couldn't find the words." "Then tell me now," he said, his voice steady despite the storm inside him. And so she did. The truth. 3 months earlier, Anna had gone for her annual physical. A routine blood test had revealed anomalies. Further tests followed: biopsies, scans, consultations. The diagnosis: Stage 3 ovarian cancer. Aggressive. Requiring immediate, intensive treatment. I sat in that doctor's office, Anna whispered, tears streaming down her face, and all I could think about was you. Our life. Our business. How hard you've worked. I couldn't bear the thought of you putting everything on hold. Conversati.